Picture this, right? You've got half the tech world out in the Texas desert pouring literal concrete to build these massive machines.
Right, just massive.
Yeah, machines that they consume enough electricity to run a mid-sized city. And they're doing all this just to power an AI that's flying an F-16 fighter jet.
Which is still wild to even say out loud.
It's completely insane.
Yeah.
But then you look at the other half of the industry, and they're frantically doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They're compressing that same level of supercomputing power so it can run like completely off the grid on just a standard MacBook.
Exactly. It's August 2026, and the artificial intelligence industry hasn't just evolved, it has violently snapped into two completely opposite directions.
Yeah, it's like, well, I like to call it the dinosaurs versus the tardigrades.
Oh, I like that.
Right, because you have the massive centralized, super resource-hungry dinosaurs building these data centers the size of actual towns.
Yeah, the cloud giants.
Exactly. And then on the other extreme, you have these microscopic, indestructible tardigrades, these hyper-efficient models running locally.
Totally unbothered by network outages, right?
Cloud costs.
Yeah, exactly. It's this fundamental divergence in compute architecture. And I mean, it goes entirely against our standard mental model of how a technology sector is supposed to mature.
Right, because usually they consolidate.
Yeah, usually an industry consolidates into a single dominant paradigm.
Okay.
But right now, we're watching this massive simultaneous explosion of hyperlocal private AI on one end.
And a staggering physical infrastructure land grab on the other.
Right. The battlefield is actively stretching toward those two absolute extremes.
So, welcome to this deep dive. For you listening right now, we know that keeping up with AI is, honestly, like drinking from a fire hose.
Oh, absolutely. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. So our mission today is to unpack this specific moment in time. We're going to break down the mechanics of this split, the shocking boardroom shakeups happening right now, and these historic market upsets that basically prove no tech giant is safe.
No one is safe. The whole leaderboard is flipping.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have to start with the tardigrades, the stay-at-home AI revolution. Meta just dropped 3 major bombshells that really pushed this off-the-grid capability forward.
And their timing here is just ruthless. They're clearly trying to capture a very specific, highly lucrative slice of the developer market.
Yeah, so let's look at the actual drops. First, we have Muse Code. That's their brand new programming assistant.
Right, but the real story is what's running underneath it.
Exactly, the engine. The second drop, which is a new foundational model called Muse Spark 1.2.
Yeah.
And this isn't just, a basic code completer. Spark 1.2 writes code, sure, but it actively catches its own bugs.
It self-verifies the logic.
Right, and it manages entire software development pipelines totally on its own.
Which is huge.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The third drop is Muse Glimmer. It's an open-weight model engineered specifically to run entirely offline on standard consumer hardware.
Like a Mac or a PC.
Exactly. So we really need to define open weight here because I feel like people confuse it with open source.
Yeah, they do. And it's the linchpin of Meta's whole strategy here. So when we say open weight, we don't necessarily mean open source in that traditional democratic sense where all the training data is made public.
Right, the data is still a black box.
Exactly. Open weight means Meta spent millions of dollars and, megawatts of power training this neural network, and then they simply gave the finished compressed brain away for free.
Just a free download.
Yeah, you download the weights, the actual mathematical parameters that make the AI smart, and you just run it locally.
It's like deciding you no longer want to send all your secret proprietary recipe ingredients to a massive factory kitchen in the cloud.
Right, just to bake a cake.
Exactly. Because you don't want Google or OpenAI analyzing your ingredients. So instead, Meta basically just gave you a master chef who lives permanently inside your laptop.
I love that analogy.
Thanks. The chef works completely in the dark, totally offline, and your data never actually leaves the building.
That is a perfect way to explain the mechanism of data privacy here. And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Meta is aggressively targeting enterprise companies and defense contractors.
The people whose goal and rule is data doesn't leave the door.
Exactly.
But, okay, let me push back on this for just a second.
Sure.
The idea of running an enterprise-grade AI on a laptop sounds amazing in theory. But is this actually viable for, Fortune 500 companies? Or is this just a niche hobby for super nerds?
That's a fair question.
I mean, a major bank isn't going to trust their back-end architecture to some free model a guy downloaded off a forum.
Right. And a few years ago, you'd be absolutely right. But you have to look at the data coming out of the open source community right now, specifically on Reddit.
Oh yeah, the LocalLLaMA subreddit.
Yes, the r/LocalLLaMA community is nearing 800,000 active members.
Which is basically the population of a major city.
It is, and they aren't just hobbyists messing around. They're actively solving the enterprise deployment problem, and they're doing it through a process called quantization.
Okay, we need to break down quantization for everyone listening. How does that actually bridge the gap from hobbyist to, enterprise deployment?
Okay, think of a raw, cloud-based AI model, like a high-resolution, uncompressed 8K video file.
Okay, so it's gorgeous, but it's massive.
Exactly. It requires a supercomputer just to run it. Quantization is the mathematical process of drastically reducing the precision of the numbers inside the AI.
So downsizing it.
Yeah, downsizing it from, say, a 16-bit float down to a 4-bit integer.
Oh, okay.
It's like compressing that massive 8K video into a highly optimized 1080p stream. You lose a tiny, tiny fraction of the absolute nuance, but the core logic and reasoning remain completely intact.
So because of quantization, an enterprise can take Meta's massive model, shrink it down, and just deploy it securely across 10,000 employee laptops tomorrow.
Exactly.
And the speed at which this community operates is just staggering. I mean, when a new model drops within hours, discussion threads explode.
Oh, it's instantaneous.
These users are downloading, quantizing, testing, and optimizing faster than traditional tech analysts can even write up the release notes.
It's incredible. But, that blistering speed has actually created a massive systemic problem.
Oh, yes. The synthetic data crisis.
Right.
Because they move so fast, and because the tools they are using are now so intelligent, these users are genuinely struggling to tell the difference between real, human-run benchmark analysis and AI-generated fluff.
It's a huge issue. It raises this incredibly important question about the integrity of crowdsourced technical data.
Because when 800,000 people all have super intelligent AI running on their laptops,
it becomes trivial to generate fake performance metrics. You can artificially hype up a model or just flood the zone with synthetic reviews.
Yeah, it's like trying to read Amazon product reviews, but every single fake review was written by Shakespeare.
Right. You literally cannot spot the forgery.
And that's why the community is now ruthlessly demanding strictly reproducible benchmarks.
Yes. If you post a chart saying Muse Glimmer outperformed OpenAI, but you can't provide the exact prompt methodology.
And the algorithmic seed, right?
Exactly, the sieve, so someone else can duplicate your exact test. No one believes you.
Reproducibility is literally the only currency left.
Precisely. In an ecosystem drowning in synthetic competence, mathematical proof is the only way to establish any trust.
Wow. So that is the tardigrade side of the equation. Hundreds of thousands of people basically compressing AI to run off the grid.
Right.
But while they're doing that, the big tech companies are heading in the exact opposite direction. Which brings us to the dinosaurs.
The physical infrastructure side.
The land grab happening right now is just mind-blowing.
It really is, because software requires hardware.
Yeah.
And hardware requires space, cooling, and immense amounts of power. We are basically seeing the physical manifestation of the AI boom.
We really are. I mean, look at these investments. Galaxy Digital just bought 500 acres of land in Texas, specifically to build a dedicated AI computing park.
500 acres.
500 acres of servers. And Amazon is pushing forward with 4 massive, specialized buildings under this thing called Project Eagle.
And what's really fascinating here is the shift in Wall Street's sentiment regarding all this build-out.
Oh, you mean the CapEx shift?
Exactly. Capital expenditure. Historically, investors ruthlessly scrutinize how much money tech giants spend on hardware.
Right, they worry about over-leveraging, spending too much cash.
Yeah, but if you look at the recent earnings season, that metric has completely flipped. Investors actually no longer care what the budget is.
Wait, they don't care about the budget?
Not really. The only metric Wall Street is reacting to right now is time to power.
Time to power, meaning how fast they can plug it in.
Exactly. How fast can these companies plug these massive concrete data centers into the national grid and turn raw electricity into compute cycles?
Right, because right now, compute cycles equal revenue.
Yep.
I completely understand the economics of it, but the sheer scale is what's so jarring. The speed to grid is everything. And it really begs the question, what exactly are they doing with all this immense physical power?
That is the big question.
Because we aren't just generating text emails anymore. The physical stakes are actually escalating.
And that leads us to the DARPA aviation milestone.
Okay, this gave me literal chills when I read it. For the first time ever, an AI just successfully and completely controlled an F-16 fighter jet in real physical flight.
Not a simulation.
No. A real F-16 up in the sky, actually dogfighting.
Yeah.
How does technology built for predicting the next word in a sentence suddenly fly a supersonic jet?
Because it's no longer just predicting text, you know? The models running in these massive data centers have transitioned into multimodal physical agents.
Physical agents.
Right. When an AI flies an F-16, it isn't like reading a manual. It is processing real-time, low-latency sensor fusion.
So it's taking in everything all at once.
Exactly. Telemetry, radar data, aerodynamic physics. And it's using reinforcement learning to react to physical space faster than human biology allows.
Wow.
When you connect 500-acre compute parks to an AI making split-second decisions in a fighter jet, you realize this technology has permanently broken out of the web browser.
It is moving dirt, consuming city-level power, and flying jets, which frankly explains exactly why the regulators are in a dead panic right now.
Oh, yeah. Regulators are looking at the sheer kinetic reality of this and realizing that structural accountability is no longer optional.
Which brings us to Article 50 of the EU AI Act. This just officially went into effect on August 2nd.
Right, and Article 50 is this sweeping transparency mandate. It's Europe's attempt to put guardrails on this explosive growth.
What does it actually mandate, though?
Well, it requires foundational models to provide deep documentation on their training architectures. It mandates clear disclosure when content is AI-generated, and it enforces strict audits on how these massive systems are actually deployed.
So let's look at the board right now. You have Meta pushing offline AI into everyone's personal laptops.
Yep.
You have Wall Street demanding faster power grid consumption. You have AI flying military jets, and you have the EU dropping the regulatory hammer.
It's chaos.
You literally cannot have this level of technological and physical friction without massive casualties in the corporate hierarchy.
The pressure on the middle layer of this industry right now is just crushing.
Oh, totally. Legacy giants are realizing that their past success guarantees them absolutely nothing in this new environment.
Right.
Okay, let's look at the boardroom bloodbath.
Yeah.
Because the internal panic at Google right now is palpable.
It's very visible.
The August data details a desperate, massive restructuring inside Google. Demis Hassabis, who was, one of the foundational legends of modern AI, is stepping back into a chairman role.
Right.
And Kavukcuoglu is taking over the actual day-to-day operations. So why this specific move right now?
This is Google officially ending an era of divided attention. For years, their AI efforts were split across two distinct cultures.
Right, because of the acquisition.
Exactly. You had Google Brain in California, which was very product-driven, very fast-paced. And then you had DeepMind in London, which was heavily focused on long-term academic research.
Right. So they were both brilliant, but they were essentially operating as completely separate entities.
Right. And in a market moving this fast, decentralized academic research is a massive liability.
We just can't move fast enough.
No. So by elevating Kavukcuoglu to run day-to-day operations and centralizing the chain of command, Google is ruthlessly shortening its product pipeline.
They're trying to turn a massive research institution into a lean, fast-shipping product team.
Exactly, because they are facing existential threats on all sides.
And it's not just the Western startups threatening them.
No.
Alibaba just executed a massive double release. They dropped Qwen 3.8 Max, which is heavily targeted at software development, and they immediately followed it up with Qwen Image 3.0 Pro.
And those Qwen releases are critical.
Why is that?
Because they prove that open models from outside the U.S. ecosystem are rapidly closing the performance gap with closed-source proprietary giants.
Even on the high-value, complex tasks.
Exactly. The technological moat that Google and Microsoft thought they had, it's evaporating.
And when the moat evaporates, the users get options.
Yep.
And when users get options, the leaderboards get flipped completely upside down.
Oh, the arena rankings.
Yes. I have to break down these new arena rankings because the reshuffling across the board is historic.
It is a total disruption of the established hierarchy.
Let's go category by category. First up, text generation.
Yep.
The new #1 spot on the definitive arena text board goes to Claude Fable 5. Claude actually takes the crown from OpenAI.
Which is huge.
Massive. Then we look at video generation. Gemini OmniFlash absolutely dominates here. It took first place on 2 independent boards. It hit a 1527 ELO rating in text-to-video, and it's leading second place by a massive 45 points.
We should probably context set that ELO rating for a second.
Yeah, please do.
So for those familiar with chess or competitive gaming, you know ELO is a head-to-head win-loss ranking system.
Right.
In AI benchmarks, it means human evaluators are doing blind side-by-side comparisons of video outputs.
So they just picked the better video.
Exactly. And hitting a 1527 ELO and beating the runner-up by 45 points at this tier of competition.
That sounds like a blowout.
It is a statistical blowout. It's a generational leap in coherence and physics simulation. It basically proves that despite Google's internal boardroom chaos, their engineering talent is still capable of brutal technical dominance.
So they are definitely not dead yet.
Not at all.
And finally, image generation. ChatGPT Images 2.0 actually managed to defend its title, keeping its double board championship. So OpenAI still holds the image crown.
For now.
Right, for now. But here is where we get to the absolute biggest shock of this entire deep dive.
The market share.
Yes, because if you look at the market share and revenue data, the OpenAI is invincible. Narrative is completely dead. OpenAI is actively losing its grip.
The market data from this quarter is just a watershed moment for the industry.
Listen to these numbers. ChatGPT's market share dropped below 50% for the first time ever in March.
Wow.
Yeah. By May, they were down to 46.4%.
Okay.
Gemini is holding at 27.7%. But look at Anthropic. Claude has surged to 10.3% market share.
That is incredible.
That is literally 3 times its share from just February.
Yeah.
Claude tripled its footprint in 3 months.
Which translates directly to the final crushing blow to the old hierarchy, right? The revenue.
A flippening. Okay, walk us through the money.
So, as of April, Anthropic officially surpassed OpenAI in revenue.
Unbelievable.
According to the internal metrics, Anthropic is now projecting a $47 billion annualized revenue run rate.
$47 billion.
Yeah. Now, compare that to OpenAI, which is sitting at $25 billion.
$47 billion to $25 billion. I mean, Anthropic isn't just beating the pioneer of the industry. They're almost doubling them in annualized revenue. How on earth did that happen so fast?
It all comes back to what we discussed in the very first segment regarding Meta and the tardigrades.
Wait, really? The local models?
Well, the philosophy behind them. Anthropic won the revenue war because they fundamentally understood the enterprise market's obsession with security and reliability. While OpenAI was really focused on building massive, consumer-facing super apps, Anthropic focused entirely on B2B trust.
So they went after the businesses.
Exactly. They built superior context windows that don't hallucinate when you feed them, like thousands of pages of legal documents.
Right.
They mastered the secure architecture that Fortune 500 companies demand for their internal pipelines. Basically, Anthropic captured the enterprise budgets.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's try to bring all these threads together.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
Yeah.
The AI landscape of August 2026 is fundamentally defined by this massive split in compute architecture.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the tardigrades, the hyperlocal, highly secure, quantized open-weight models like Meta's Muse Glimmer. They are blowing up on laptops, championed by these rapid-fire Reddit communities who demand mathematically reproducible trust, and they guarantee your data never leaves the room.
And on the other extreme, you have the dinosaurs. The power-hungry cloud giants buying up 500-acre plots, racing to turn raw electricity into physical compute.
Right, powering multimodal agents capable of flying military fighter jets.
Exactly. And caught in the crossfire of those two extremes is the boardroom bloodbath.
Yeah. Legacy giants like Google frantically restructuring their entire corporate cultures just to keep pace with agile competitors like Anthropic.
Competitors who leverage enterprise trust to completely flip the financial script and hit $47 billion.
It's just an environment of total frictionless transformation.
It is. But I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over on your own.
Okay, let's hear it.
We discussed earlier that the massive Reddit community, who are arguably some of the most technically literate, hands-on enthusiasts in the world, are currently struggling to distinguish between genuine, human-run benchmark analysis and AI-generated synthetic data.
Right. The Shakespearean fake reviews.
Yeah.
Even the experts are getting fooled.
Exactly. So here is the provocative question to walk away with. If the smartest, most dedicated humans in the room can no longer tell what synthetic data is real and what is fabricated.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. How exactly are governments supposed to enforce sweeping new transparency laws like the EU's Article 50?
Especially when those models aren't running in a centralized cloud.
Exactly. They are instead running entirely offline, deeply quantized, on millions of private, untraceable laptops.
That is a terrifyingly good question. If the tardigrades are everywhere and they're completely off the grid, how does a regulator even know they exist, let alone audit their training data?
It's the ultimate blind spot.
It really is. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the 2026 AI ecosystem.
It's been wild.
The technology is moving fast, the compute architecture is violently splitting, and the leaderboards are flipping. But we will always be here to help you unpack exactly what it all means.
Absolutely.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and stay insanely curious. Catch you next time.